Friends, we're here at Commissioner's Court. We are here with Commissioner Lesley Briones, exclusive interview for Que Onda magazine. Commissioner, welcome to our show.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. I'm so proud to be here interviewing with Que Onda, and I'm extremely proud that it is the largest Latino publication in the state of Texas and one of the largest in the country. So
yes, thank you.
It gives me immense pride. Thank you for everything that you and your team and Mr. Esparza do for our community.
Tell us about your background and the through line that takes us to the present, to how you got to Commissioner's Court.
Thank you. So I'm a proud Latina, born and raised in South Texas on the U.S.-Mexico border in Laredo. My parents are teachers, so education was everything. Fast forward, I went to Harvard for college, thanks to scholarships, working multiple part-time jobs in school. And then I went back to the border. After graduating from Harvard, I was an 8th and 10th grade public school teacher. And Laredo is 98% Latino. And
right.
So seeing my students and how the education system, many of them were juvenile justice involved youth, there had immigration challenges, child welfare challenges, inspired me to be a lawyer. So I went back up east, I went to Yale Law School, graduated, and then I fell in love with Houston and moved here in 2007. And from there, I worked at a big law firm a few blocks away. And then I worked at a national nonprofit for about 8 years as the general counsel, as the chief operating officer. Literally, we gave away $1 billion in grants across the country. And then I was one of your judges here in Harris County, and Latinos are underrepresented on the bench here in Harris County and throughout Texas and throughout the United States. So one of the things I was really happy to do while a judge, I started Texas Latinx Judges to increase the number of Latina and Latino judges in Texas, because that is much needed, and work with the Hispanic Bar Association and the Mexican American Bar Association to really empower our Latino law students and young Latino lawyers. So I was a judge for about 3 years, a civil court judge, and then I was recently elected to serve as your Harris County Commissioner for Precinct 4. And I'm the proud mom of 3 young Latinas, Valentina, Catalina, and Ana Lucia. And my husband Alan is Latino as well, from El Paso.
Tell us how working as a judge prepared you for this position that you currently hold.
So justice is my why. I always ask, is this just? Is this fair? So that is always a guiding light. Also, as a judge, I'm a Democrat, lifelong Democrat, but I, as a judge, had a black robe, not a blue robe, not a red robe. And it was my job as a judge to go into that court, be prepared, read all pleadings, and listen to both sides of a case with an open mind and with fairness, and then look at the evidence and then make a hard decision. So I have figuratively brought the black robe to Commissioner's Court, because to me, we have to listen to all sides of a position and an issue, and we have to make sure we're serving all people, not just those of a certain party or persuasion.
You made history in being elected the first woman to this particular district, as well as being a Latina. How do you think future generations will be affected by your trailblazing entry into this lane?
Well, thank you very much. I am proud that together we keep breaking down ceilings. And I'm extra proud that the 3 women who have been elected to Commissioner's Court on their own right, Congresswoman Silvia Garcia, Judge Lina Hidalgo, and now me, for the entire court, 3 Latinas. But yes, I am the first woman in Precinct 4. I am the first mother ever elected in her own right. And, you know, our Latino community, family is everything to us. So to not have the perspective of a mother on the court in its over 145-year history based on women who were elected in their own right is, you know, kind of shocking that it took till 2023. But my goal is that anyone and everyone who's listening, especially our youth, know that we're going to continue breaking down these ceilings and shattering them. And I look forward to the day where there are no firsts, because we have advanced so much. And I'm particularly proud living in Harris County, where approximately 40 Latino community is 45% of the population, as is my Precinct 4. So I'm very proud to serve our community and all communities in Precinct 4 in Harris County.
You ran your campaign on the issues of healthcare, economic opportunity, mobility, education, and homelessness. How did you decide that flooding was your top priority?
So before I answer that, I also wanted to highlight one other amazing ceiling that has been broken. Commissioner's Court has 5 people, right? 4 commissioners and a county judge. And this is the first time that the majority of the court is minority. And we have 3 Latinos serving at the same time: Judge Hidalgo, Commissioner Adrian Garcia, and me. So while Latinos, we are underrepresented in most bodies of government, it is exciting that Commissioner's Court, we've made that mark in history, and there's 3 Latinos out of 5. And so going to the issues, yes, I have a lot of West Harris County, so flooding is one of the top issues, but the number one issue is actually public safety. So we have heard very loud and clear that the community wants to make sure that we continue to decrease crime and increase public safety. So that's one of the issues we have gotten to work on immediately since I took office in January, and I'm happy to go into more detail.
And it's been reported that you're a victim of crime. And so this is something that is very near and dear to you.
It is. So I've been the victim of crime several times, unfortunately, and it started when I was a little girl. My home was broken into while I was home, actually several times, and you never forget that fear. And then I've had various other types of crime throughout my life, unfortunately. And as somebody who's been a victim, and as a mom of 3 little girls that I don't feel comfortable letting them walk to the park nearby, and as somebody who is a lawyer and believes in the importance of the rule of law, public safety is my number one issue, because we all deserve to be safe in our homes, in our neighborhoods, in our schools, in our places of worship, at the grocery store. And, what happened in Uvalde was a complete travesty, and it never can happen here in Harris County. And so we're doing several things.
What would you tell critics about Democrats being soft on crime?
I would say that's false. Especially with regard to this Democrat, that it is my number one issue. And one of our other Democrats, Commissioner Adrian Garcia, he was our former sheriff and was in law enforcement for decades. This is something that we have been and will continue to aggressively work towards, to making sure we're making Harris County as safe as possible. So several things that we have done, for example, one is we have expanded to Precinct 4, the Holistic Assistance Response Team. So many of the calls for service are actually related to mental health, addiction, homelessness, crisis, and we need people trained with mental health to respond to those, so then our law enforcement can actually be free to respond to any violent calls for service. So that was one of the actions we took. 2, we added additional funding to our district attorney's office and are working with the public defender's office so that they can even better address the cases, and we can continue to clear the case backlog. We've given additional funding to the courts so that we have associate visiting judges working to clear the backlog. When I was a judge, I was a civil court judge, not criminal, but I was able to clear the backlog, and we need to make sure that we're continuously clearing, because people need their day in court, both the victims and the accused, as soon as possible. We've also been working closely with the sheriff's office, whether that's additional funding for body-worn cameras. We gave a raise to our detention officers and a retention bonus, because we need the individuals who are working in our jail, A, to feel how much we appreciate them, and B, we need them to stay and work, and it's been hard. So if anyone listening has an interest in working in law enforcement, we have numerous open positions that we have funding for, that are open, that we're recruiting for, but we need more good men and women to come serve. So that's some of the work we've been doing. We also just opened a new women's jail called the Women's Empowerment Center. So Sheriff Ed Gonzalez, another Latino leader in our region, it is wonderful. It's for minimum security women. And as a mom, I'll bring in the mom's perspective again. Do you know that 80% of women who are in jail are moms?
Wow.
And if we want to break this intergenerational cycle of entering the criminal justice system, doing it through these women is one way. So for example, this facility, again, it's not for maximum security, it's for minimum security women, low risk, but they get educational training, vocational training, mental health services, job certification, and they're actually put on a path so that when they're released, they can go back to their families and to the community more productive, right? Breaking that cycle of recidivism. So those are some of the public safety elements we've taken, but there's so many. I'm also excited. We recently passed for a swift water facility. So it's just a matter of time before we get hit by another hurricane. And so Sheriff Ed Gonzalez and his team, they're creating a facility where all first responders in this region, and we can train from across the state, can come and work on simulation so that we're better prepared for the next time a storm hits. We're also adding lights to neighborhoods and other efforts to increase public safety. So we're hard at work.
How do you plan to address the challenges faced by Harris County in terms of infrastructure, transportation, or urban planning?
Several ways. One, we are working diligently there's several bonds. The people of Harris County overwhelmingly passed the 2022 infrastructure bonds. So we are working on spending those, and I'll go into more detail. We also need to complete the work from the 2018 flood bond. And recently we got the good news that the General Land Office is sending the money to Harris County. So we have a lot of infrastructure dollars to put to work, mainly on flood mitigation efforts, neighborhood subdivision drainage projects, and evacuation route infrastructure related work. Meanwhile, we have millions of dollars to put to work on sidewalks so kids can walk to school safely. So if you're in Precinct 4, go to our website for Precinct 4. Any member of the public can go on, write a request for a new sidewalk or to fix a sidewalk if it's somewhere connected to a school. Again, the teacher, mom, and me, we need to make sure kids can walk to school safely. You can walk to the bus stop and get to work. We also are looking at parks, which is a key part of the infrastructure. So the first two parks that we are in Precinct 4 are investing to improve are Bayland Park and Burnett Bayland Park, which is a very heavily Latino neighborhood area, as you know. We've also put out a call for partnership projects because I'm very committed to working with all the different cities, not just working on the unincorporated. So again, asking school districts, the cities, municipal districts, management districts, what infrastructure ideas do you have? Because we proactively want to partner, because if we both invest money together, we can get a lot more done. So those are some of the examples for infrastructure.
Education has been a hot topic in the news. Tell us your perspective on education.
Every child deserves a high quality public education, and we need to continue doing better for our students. As Harris County, we can write letters of support, which we have, but directly we are not involved. Unfortunately, I'm a teacher. I wish we had more power and jurisdiction over education, but really that's obviously a state-driven effort. So what I say to all parents who may be listening and to all of our educators and all of our community members, we need to make sure that we continue to advocate for our kids, for our students, to make sure they get the education they deserve, especially as we know in our Latino communities, our children deserve access to the best schools possible, and we have a lot of work to do still.
There you have it, friends. Commissioner Lesley Briones reporting for Que Onda magazine.
I just want to say thank you again for the opportunity, and thank you to Gabriel Esparza and the Que Onda team. It gives me so much pride that Que Onda magazine does such an incredible amount for the Latino community in the state of Texas and in our region. And it's a model for the nation of how we need to continue empowering our Latino community with the facts, get them engaged in the community. And I'm deeply proud to be a Latina serving as Harris County Commissioner's Court. So thank you to the people of Harris County for giving me this opportunity. It is critical for all of our children that we keep moving forward together always. Siempre adelante y muchas gracias.
Thank you.